5 fighting video games of all time.
Old time.
All time. Yeah, so that's going to be
Even in the
interesting.
future, there shall never be anything to do better than these.
Ever. Forever. Okay, so we're just going to do a combined list. I'm going to do 5. Brendan's going to do 4. Then I'm going to do
We're
3.
gonna
Then
do it.
he's going to do two, and then I'm going to do 1. Okay, so I'll start off with 5. The number 5 greatest fighting video game of all time, I'm going to give to Mortal Kombat 2. Now, a lot of people would give it to Mortal Kombat, but I liked how
No,
Mortal Kombat
two is
2.
definitely better.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was better. I liked how they expanded out the rosters. I thought they made a lot of clone characters, and that was really the first time
They
you'd
they
seen that
tightened
in a
up the
lot of video
controls.
games. And they
Controls are
tightened up the
better.
controls. I also like how they did the graphic style was like
Yeah.
taking pictures of people, and I don't know what that's called.
Yeah, in the console versions, they just made it so much, especially on the like I think the arcades might have been closer together, but when they ported it to the consoles, two was where it really starts being worth playing,
Hmm. And that's where we get Toasty.
and a lot of other things.
That's what we
Yes.
get. All right, Brendan, what's number
Get over
4?
here.
That was
Number
number 1.
number 4 is gonna go to Soul Calibur 2.
Soul Calibur 2, okay.
Again on two. Like I don't know, with fighting games with twos that they works out well, but Soul Calibur I like the best of the Soul Caliburs. It was fun back in the day when they split it up between the different consoles. Each console had its own exclusive game. You were like, oh, I want to play with that. Actually, it wasn't. I want to play with that guy. It was always I want to play with Link, but who has a GameCube? Everyone has a PS2, right?
That's
But every
true.
once in a while, you go, you play with your friend who has the GameCube version, and you're like,
Which we
man, I
had the
can play with
GameCube
Link.
version, actually. That's why he's saying that.
We had the PS2 version initially. Eventually, we had that GameCube
No,
version.
I don't remember ever having the PlayStation 2 version.
I remember playing. Well, maybe we just rented it because I remember playing with Hadachi, who was the PS2 exclusive, the guy from
See, I
Tekken.
don't remember. I remember when we got Yoda in that.
Are you thinking about two, or are you thinking about the
Maybe I'm
like
thinking about
three or four?
3 or 4.
Four.
But yeah, I do remember having Link too, and I do like that type of combat system. It is the more weapon-based combat, which
Yeah.
is a lot of fun to play too.
It was weapon based. It's a simple enough game to pick up and just start doing cool things with. Like certain characters you can just do combos with without knowing what you're doing. But it can get more complex. You can make it harder, which most of them you can. But it has a really good entry point, unlike some other fighting games.
Yeah, easy to learn, difficult to master, which is how I think video games should be.
Yeah, and a good bit of diversity even at the second one, and nice extra game modes beyond just arcade fighting. The story paths you can go to, whatever. It was cool. It was a good time.
So we're moving on to number 3, and number 3 is going to be Tekken 3.
That's actually a very good choice. That's my favorite.
That was the
Tekken.
last one on the PlayStation. I remember that was one of the first fighting video games that I actually went through and beat it with all the characters, just to get all the special characters. And they had like an interesting volleyball mode, and they had a kangaroo you could fight with, and Tekken
The
3.
dinosaur. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about picking Tekken Tag Tournament, which was amazing too, but Tekken 3, I think I would put that above. And all I
I
know
think
is
Tekken
that
3 is where that franchise really took off.
yeah.
Like, that was pretty definitive. Right there.
And when you could play as Eddie and do the capoeira fighting, that was nothing better. And Huang, that guy was a beast. So yeah, that was one of the only ones that I made sure I went through and got everything I could for it.
That game was so. Not only, I remember too, we didn't just get everything for that, we did it without turning off the PlayStation because we first had that game
before
early when we had the PlayStation. Yeah, we didn't have a memory card, so to get everything, we had to just
keep
play
playing.
with we go between different people. Like, okay, now you go for a little while. You have to beat everyone. But we did it. We got all the way to getting the final character, Ogre, the true form Ogre, and we got Gon and everyone else. And then Cat stepped on it, and we had to do it again.
Yep. But that happens. But okay, what's number 2, Brendan?
I'm giving it to Smash Brothers, the first one. A lot of people like Melee. I do like the new one. But I like the first one. The first one was so good to start with. It was a very different kind of fighter, using four different fighters at a time, and all the Nintendo characters who all play so differently. Um, Even with just the few, um, it's also got that nostalgia appeal to me. Like,
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. It was a different, it was a new type of fighter for its time, with a
it was
different
done
type of
very well.
control. You didn't need to learn all these crazy button combinations to do special moves. Everybody's special move was the same. The way to do it was the same. It was more about timing and reflexes
Yeah.
and just finding out the flow. And I remember that game for the first one, they had a timed mode. You could do it either by level amount of lives you lose or time mode. And I would play that with an hour-long match, and I would play that all the way through, and it was good times.
Yeah, and it was a very quick game to pick up. That was the original and Melee were games that actually played with my suite mates and roommates in my first year of college, and we just played that so much. Like the game had been out for forever, even by that point. But we would play like, oh, we got 5 minutes between class. Yeah, let's play around. Oh, what we've played everything before. Let's just do randoms. Oh, we've done all that. Well, now you can only be Donkey Kong and jump off while holding people. Whatever. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff, and it was just always good fun, though.
Yeah,
But
good time. So we're on to our number one top fighting game of all time. And like I said, we did not plan this out ahead of time. When I said for Brendan to do number two, I said, okay, he's going to pick one of two, which was either Super Smash Brothers, which he picked, or Street Fighter 2. And I was like, whichever one's left will be number one.
well, I had to pick Smash Brothers because Street Fighter 2. I knew you were going to say Street Fighter 2, and that has to be number one.
Yeah, that has to be number one.
Street Fighter 2
That
Turbo.
is that is the game that that just broke the mold for fighting games. That is the game that launched a genre almost. So you cannot have the genre defining game anything but number one. So Street Fighter 2, you have our number one.
Are you giving me Street Fighter 2 or Street Fighter 2 Turbo? Or just the whole thing? Because
I'd almost say Street Fighter 2 Turbo was better.
yeah, I would say Turbo. Turbo was the
Street
same
Fighter
game.
2 was
They
the
just
one
made
that
it faster and more
They
characters.
made it faster and they put a couple more characters in. But I'd say Street Fighter 2 because Turbo didn't come out for a couple years until after Street Fighter 2 came out.
That's true, but still, I would say still Turbo. If we're going to pick, we can just say all of Street Fighter 2, I guess. But
Yeah,
Turbo's kind of like the final form.
So I mean, Street Fighter and Ryu and Ken and Hadouken, still to this day, that's what everybody bases their game off of is those character types like the Chun-Li, fast, not quite as powerful. Zangief, slower but extremely powerful. Ryu and Ken, the kind of in the middle. Dhalsim, the backup fighter, get a little more range. E Honda, I think he was best when he was up close. I mean, those kind of architects were what everybody has based their characters off of.
Combo breaking and the special moves, everything. The dealing with sides of level, whatever. Like the way that pro players play was really set by how that game played, and really introduced like the idea of like pro fighting game players. I think anyway.
It didn't introduce the idea. Somebody else introduced the idea that it would make it viable.
It said, "Hey guys, pro fighting game players."
Because you don't exist yet, but we're going to introduce this idea. Okay.
But it was great in the arcade. It was great on consoles. It's still great. Like I've been actually debating the last like couple days. It's on sale right now on PSN. You can get the HD version of it. Street Fighter 2 HD. It's like $4. Gotta have it.
Yeah, well,
let's play it.
So that is our
have
top
it for
five
Super
list.
Nintendo and Genesis.
Well, that is our top 5 list of the 5 greatest fighting games of all time. And I guess we're talking about it because Street Fighter 5 had an announcement out, and also Evo just happened last week. So, yeah, there's reasons we're talking about it, not just because we're randomly thinking of it.
Evo did just happen.
No, we randomly thought about it too. I just made up that Evo thing. I was just like, wait, Evo did just happen. Okay, so that'll be another reason we just did this. So
I honestly I thought of it because of there was the sale on a bunch of fighting games, and I've been looking at getting a bunch of fighting games right now, and I've been narrowing down which ones are good enough for me to buy.
Well, we just gave you your definitive list. So let us know what your top fighting games are. Hit us up. Let us know. Comments down below. Of course, at What's My Face on Twitter. Google Plus, Facebook. Always good ways of getting a hold of us.